Hi, everybody. Welcome to the gray area. It's Codependency Kate. I'm so excited to be back on the mic today. I had last week was really fun to record, and this week is going to be fun too. I don't know if I don't think I said this. Oh yeah, because I started this after last week. So if you guys have been following me on social media, you have been seeing that I've been doing a series on defensiveness in marriage. And I'm excited to announce that I'll be doing a 4 week class starting October 30th. That's a Thursday. It's going to be 4 Thursdays in a row starting October 30th, yes, of this year. And it's $22 a class or $80 up front. And it's going to be from 10 to 11:30 uh, a.m. Central Time. No, it's not going to be recorded. This is one of those. I know everybody works. Like I totally understand that. It's obviously not at a convenient time, but when I think about it, I'm not really sure what a convenient time is, whether that's evenings or weekends or what. I think honestly, the most convenient thing is to record it, and I'm gonna record it. I'm trying to figure out how to do that while maintaining like the participants' anonymity. That seems important given the sensitive material. So, if anybody has any ideas, like feel free to message me. A lot of people have been saying they're super excited about it. And I am too. I'm too with my first class. Last week I announced my podcast was going to be Class with Kate, or like, I was doing a show and I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to do a class now. Like, people need this now. It's fun to do this, like, with the times, like, with what I'm currently doing on social media. Um, and I think I'm going to love this option. It's just going to be via Zoom. You could probably join through via your phone if you wanted to. Um, but anyway, the sign up is at the link in my bio. The What's going to make it different from social media, my posts, is that we're going to be like discussing things, and there's a form you can fill out. There's questions you can put on there, and hopefully we'll address them in the class. So this is such a big deal, and defensiveness is. And as if you've seen my stuff, you've seen that I've been saying to treat it like a substance abuse issue. And there have been so many questions. I had a video pick up this week that was talking about how like decentering your defensive partner is part of the key in all of this. And anyway, so we're going to just talk about any and all of those things. And again, so it's going to be 4 Thursdays starting October 30th from 10 to 11:30 Central Time. The sign up is at the link in my link tree, just the link in my bio or whatever. And like I said, I would say $80 up front because it's cheaper that way. But if you're not sure, you can do $22 a class. Overall, this is my first one. And I hope to learn so much from this experience. And what's the most enriching thing for me is I learn so much from you, like about the content I put out. Like, oh, this is my audience I'm talking to. Oh, this is what their struggles are. Because I've said this before, but it's really important for people to know this, that the content I post online is obviously based in my own like theories and principles and education and experience, but it's also based on things I see online. Like, I'm not taking what a client is telling me and I'm posting about it on social media. That just feels weird to me. And so I'm hoping that out of these classes, I hope to do more in the future. Um, but the style, the structure, the content, the way I'm formatting them can be a lot based on you guys and meeting you where you're at, because you're not my clients. Like, it's a totally different setup. It's a totally different relationship. I get a lot of messages too from people telling me their situation and like, is this what I should be doing? And I'm like, oh man, I like need more context. I need more information. And so I'm hoping through these classes that, or this first class at least, that I can get a better understanding of how to reach people without having their context, since this is a group setting. And I know that a lot of people learn by listening and watching other people's experiences. And that's the goal of this class, as is the goal of my new kind of segment of this podcast, the class with Kate, is when I talk with people, it's really helping other people that may be in similar situations, get some feedback or context. And aside from that, it's also a new skill for me, like to not be a therapist, to do more like educational things. And I already do that online, but this is a totally new thing for me. So I think I've mentioned this before, but that's kind of the fun part of this podcast and everything I'm doing is you'll get to see me evolve and grow and make mistakes and learn as just a professional online. I think that I was thinking so much this past week about, man, I wonder what it's going to be like in 20 years when I have like, I feel like I'm so concentrated in what I'm learning. Like it's literally concentrated, like, higher in density and I don't know, not mass. Like I guess mass, yes, volume, yes, but like everything is so rich to me because I post online and it's just sharpening everything. And yeah, so I wonder where I'll be in 20 years. Who knows? I'll still be doing this hopefully because I love it. And it's so important to me. My biggest goals, like our biggest impact for cheapest, like most accessible and cheapest way, like to the public. If I ever did anything big, like my dream, okay, guys, I'm gonna be real. My dream is a show, like is a show. But at the same time, so anyway, the money I'd be making from that for myself would be not from you guys. That's like always my goal to offer cheap services, accessible education, and I want to have fun doing it. And I obviously like, I'm not a martyr. I want to make money, duh. Duh. Yeah. But in a fun way. Fame is not important to me whatsoever. Impact is. And yeah, so I don't know. I feel weird sharing that because that's just very personal. And I fear, I have fears of coming off as I mean, this isn't funny because this is very real, but I just get called a narcissist and like a grifter and all that stuff all the time. And so saying this stuff feels like it feeds into that, but that's just a part of this. So just being honest that um those are the bigger goals, bigger impact, helping more people, accessible, real. I mean, all the same stuff that I value now, real front, genuine, authentic, transparent. I really try to be transparent about stuff. Um, and so anyway, class with Kate. That's basically the first one is defensiveness. And yeah, sign up at the link in my bio or message me for questions. Actually, my assistant is answering questions. So just message me and I'll get you in touch with her if she's uh if you have questions. It's so nice to have help. Um but what I want to talk about on this episode today is, a little bit more about defensiveness, but what, we've been talking about Ben, we've been talking about emotions, we've been talking about defensiveness in marriage, and it just like hit me this past week. Something that is very clear that the saddest part about all of this, so like if you grew up in a family where you were emotionally neglected, you're in a marriage where you have a very defensive partner, you're realizing that you have some like enabling tendencies or self-neglecting tendencies, which is obviously reflective of your childhood, but you're growing and learning. Um, what is the goal? Like, and I was thinking today, just what makes me the saddest about all of this for you is the lack of fun that you have in your life, like even with yourself in your own house. So I was thinking like making these videos about marriage, uh, it's been a lot. There's just so much pain. But the question is like, even when you're alone in your own house, and I know that's probably not very often for a lot of people, but if you were, would you like sing in the shower? You know? Would you like, I don't know, this is like stupid cliche, like in the movies, like dance around in your underwear type thing? Would you feel free to do those things, like sing in the car? Because what's the saddest thing about growing up this way is like the lack of real play and with like just with yourself, like comfort in your own skin. Um, so much of what has been on my mind has been when you grow up in an enmeshed family and you're like hyper vigilant about everybody else and their feelings, you just really lose the freedom and like individuality to exist in your own space in the same space. Like you don't feel like there's kind of an energy orb around you. You just feel like the orb is each room you walk into, you know? And like, yeah, emotions are contagious in that way. Like you can feel tension. There's a reason for that. You know, we're social creatures. We exist with other people. Um, but that's just so that's the skill. And that's what I just hope to teach people with all this defensiveness stuff and emotion stuff is like you're your own energy orb. You have your own like magnetic field. Even if you have a defensive partner, even if you have just a really toxic situation that you're living in with your parents, you know, like you have your own energy field of like creation. So those are the questions I like to, I like to ask people is like, okay, well, outside of this, what's going on? Like, are you having fun outside of all this stuff? All this parenting, all these emotions, all these neglect, abuse, all this stuff. Are you having fun? And the biggest, I mean, one of the biggest factors to this, you guys, like, is social media and how much are you on social media? Whenever I take a social media break, I did, well, I did yesterday. And I got back on this morning, like I woke up just out of habit and I went on TikTok and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so overstimulating. This is so much like Palestine on one video, funny video on one video, marriage stuff on one video. I also have to tell you guys, as a marriage therapist, like doing this for my job and posting online, I like almost I don't have marriage stuff on my For You page, on my homepage. Like I'll get sent stuff or I'll see things every now and again, but I'm not like consuming that content. That would be so bad for me and my marriage. Like the volume of it. If I'm being consumed by it. It just it makes you so just crazy. And I'm not to say that there aren't problems. I do think it can be good where people like that are used to neglecting themselves, they get on social media and they're kind of like reminded of issues that they've been burying. So I think that can be one thing about like good about it. But what I think I want people to notice is how you're feeling even before you get on social media. Like that's what a lot of people don't do. And that's what I'm trying to teach you to do is to check in with yourself. And again, being your own energy orb. And because and you always have been, you're just maybe not aware of it. And so if you're getting online and without understanding where you're even coming from, you're going to be so susceptible, like fragile, sensitive to anything you're seeing. And there's two things happening there. There is like shit is funny or shit is scary or shit is sad and or angering or whatever. But I just want people to check in with themselves. I saw, what did I see the other day? Oh, it was a post I reposted. I think it might have been a couple weeks ago even. But it was this therapist or she's a psychologist, I think. Is it Dr. like Caswell? I don't know. She's pinned on my Instagram in a highlight under teenagers, but she did a post after I think it was the Charlie Kirk shooting and she was talking about how to help your teenage boys with their social media and making sure they're not going the far right down the far right pipeline, hating women and hating everything and being addicted to games and pornography and all that stuff. And she was talking about what actually prevents those things from happening. And she was like, you guys, it's not, she works, I think pretty exclusively with teenagers. So she has, and seems to have like a lot more years of experience than me. So like take it from her, well, from me. But like she says that it's not the media itself. It's how they're feeling before they get on social media. Are you like if you want to prevent this from happening, connect with them, like spend time with them. How are they? Help them learn their own emotions, help them learn to connect with you, like social emotional skills essentially. That's what it is, social emotional skills. And make sure they're doing that with you before they go online. If they do, they're teenagers, they probably do have some online access, but like teach them how to use it, like go through it with them, even like how do you feel watching this, what's the message from this. I think the issue is media literacy and also um, emotional intelligence. Those are the two things. Like, what are you feeling before you go on social media? And if you're feeling all sorts of way on social media, what were, kind of retroactively, like, oh, what were you feeling before? Were you feeling that before? Like, what is the use of this to you? Helping people, your kids, just like critically think through things. And that to me makes so much sense, you guys. Like, it all comes down to connection. It all does. It always comes down to emotions, emotional intelligence, connection with your family and with other people. And that's like what's the word? The like cushion to life is that. You can't prevent your kids from seeing all kinds of crazy stuff, but you can connect with them before, you can connect with them during, you can connect with them after. And it's not anxiety that's the issue. It's not fight or flight that's the issue. It's that there's no rest and digest. There's no like parasympathetic nervous system activation. There's no deep breaths. There's no hugs. There's no chilling without an agenda. Um, and so if we are telling them to do that for their lives individually, are we doing that as parents and as adults? Are we checking in with ourselves before we go on social media? Are we checking in with ourselves after we go off social media? Is it like how much are we consuming? Like I think the parents that follow me, the parents that I talk to are so they're the best parents and that they just want to make sure they get it right with their kids. And I think kind of fixating on your kids, like centering your kids in that way can really impact your marriage because if you have issues, this is going to be the difference between defensiveness is a major issue in my marriage and I'm learning the skills to deal with it, and my partner is not a bad person, they really don't get this stuff. And or so that's one thing. Like, it's all okay and this is a major issue, I'm going to be okay, they're going to be okay, and we can deal with this. It's an empowering feeling versus this person is a narcissist or they're an avoidant attachment, or like there's this like fear response. All of that is based on you and your experience. And so that's the question after you're watching content is, do I feel empowered? And this is kind of a one digestible thing that I can focus on this week, and I'm not going to consume any other marriage content. You know, if that is your strategy, I'm telling you this just to I want I mean, I'm really sharing this because of what happened to me this past week. I'm working a lot, and um I was in the comment section of my defensiveness videos, and I'm a lot of times not in the comment section because I get really overwhelmed with the need and like trying to address videos to each person's situation and whatever. And even watching this stuff, it was like poisoning my brain, even in my own marriage. Like, it doesn't make me feel empowered. It makes me feel angry, resentful, and like, I got to get out of here. I mean, and we have an amazing relationship. And so just to remind you guys that you're coming at things from a place of you, and just to be mindful of the effects on you. Um, my husband and I were actually talking this week. You know, we have a baby. She's 15 months old, and we both work. And we both like my life. I I've been like getting mad at myself recently because I'm busy, which is great. And so I have a flexible schedule. I can make my own schedule, but I've been like really mad at my boss because she has been really overbooking me in some ways, like on social media, you know, not necessarily with clients, but like on social, all this stuff I'm doing. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. I'm doing this to myself. But anyway, so like my husband and I, we both love our jobs. We love our careers. Like we feel all of our survival, you know, needs are met. And we still feel like really overwhelmed sometimes. We have one child. And so it makes me think of the people that have multiple kids that work, you know, maybe jobs they don't like. Maybe they're living somewhere they don't like. You know, all of these things that the level of burnout they must be feeling, the level of overwhelm they must be feeling is beyond. Like I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine. And so anyway, I'm noticing this in myself last week, and I'm like, Kate, okay, Kate, we got to take a break somewhere. Something's got to give. And so what I was like needing to do was, instead of getting on social media for a laugh or some release, I like laid on my bed for 30 minutes with my eyes closed and like no phone. And it felt like it was like splashing cold water on my face. I was like, gosh, Kate, your brain is just going all of the time, all of the time. And it needs to, like, it has to stop sometimes. And so, just to share with you guys, like, we have to do that for ourselves. Um, because only from that place can we approach life from a centered, grounded place in our own energy orb. I also did a video this week on this woman, Beth Moore. She used to be in the Southern Baptist Church, and now I think she's in an Episcopal church. But she was this like big pastor, I think, in the 80s and 90s, and she started realizing that some Bible verses were being interpreted from like conservative men in the church as like a power thing and not about like biblical submission. And she spoke out against that at the time, and got like shunned by all of her like colleagues, basically male colleagues. And she went on a podcast, Lecrae, he's a Christian artist. She went on his podcast to talk about it. And honestly, I saw a clip of it on TikTok. I listened to the podcast, and it left much to be desired, if I'm being honest. Like, there's not really a lot of depth around that topic in there, which I think is like honestly the most important topic nowadays. And which is understanding what you bring to a situation, like you understanding what meaning you're bringing to a situation. And I'm going to get into that in a second right now. But so anyway, I see that clip. I posted on my Instagram story. I have a lot of people of faith that follow me, and I've been trying to speak more positively about religion in general. I personally like I approach it from a client point of view, like agnostically. And on my following, I have a lot of diversity. I have religious trauma. And that's, you know, honestly, my clinical experience. And that's kind of where I was coming from when I post stuff on social media about religion. And I realized like came off as like, oh, I only think religion is negative. I got a message from someone that was like, do you think all. So it like seems from your post that you think religion is bad for mental health. And I was like, dang, I feel bad for saying that because I don't actually think that at all. And that's not what the research says in therapy. By the way, I made a video about this, but religion in therapy it can be a very positive thing. It can lead to positive client outcome if the therapist uses that in a strengths based way. And I was like, oh shit, I haven't been doing that online. I do that in therapy. I do not do that online. So anyway, I'm like trying to share more positive things that I see. Um, and so I share this Beth Moore podcast um, to my page, and I got a lot of feedback on it. People saying that, because we've been talking about marriage, and people basically saying that it got kind of into, what did it even get into? It got into the weeds of like, that's not what Paul meant in the Bible when he was talking about this. And it just got really weedy about if people agree with her or not, or where people get this idea or what biblical submission is about in marriage. And it just got really about that. And what was the most interesting thing to me, because I was getting all these DMs about it, was people would say, I'm a Christian and understand it this way, or I'm not a Christian and I understand it this way, or I'm a believer but I like no longer go to church, and I got a divorce and this is what it means to me. So like a lot of people didn't say it that way, but that was the most fascinating thing to me, was like they are coming, the way that they're interpreting scripture, the way they're interpreting this information is has like their own experience has a part in that. So it's kind of like you kind of believe what you want to believe on some level. Like believing something is doing something for you. If you're a Christian, I had a marriage therapist actually message me, and she was like, I submit to my husband. He is a kind, honorable man. And that just like works for us. I trust him, and that's what like submitting means to me. And another person messaged me and was saying like my husband really wants me to submit to him. We're Christians. We don't go to church anymore, but I'm just trying to figure out what is this biblical? And I was like, this is beyond my scope. I will say, any man that wants you to submit to him, that sounds like it's more about power than it is about like biblical submission. But I don't know. That's beyond my scope of what I'm trying to do online and in person. Even if somebody like a therapy client said that to me, I would say the same thing, because even though I'm your therapist, that's your own interpretation of it. And obviously I help people parse that out. Um, but the bottom line with it was like everybody has meaning that they're bringing to this situation. And I wish people had that point of view when they're watching social media, when they're listening of like, what is happening in me? It's like social media is not ruined for me by any means, but like even on my videos, like it's crazy being a creator and realizing this more and more, because in posting things, I get, this is the best, clearest explanation I've ever heard on this topic. And then the next comment is like, this was so confusing. You obviously don't know what you're doing. Like the same exact video. And I just really want you to sit with this, because when we are thinking about our relationships and our opinions of ourselves, like we are bringing things to them. We are bringing things to situations. Remember that Kendra and the psychiatrist situation? I did a podcast episode with a therapist about it, but basically this girl comes online sharing about how she said, I fell in love with my psychiatrist, and like this is my story. And her story was saying how she fell in love with her psychiatrist and he basically didn't do anything about it. Like he didn't address it, and everybody had all these opinions. I mean, this went crazy viral about how crazy she is, about how dangerous she is, like all of these things basically. And um, what me and this therapist were basically talking about was like people are having this like dissociated response to her. Like they're coming on here just like mob mentality, like burning the witch at the stake mentality of like this woman is absolutely crazy. And what Abby and I, the therapist, were trying to like discuss was that People are bringing so much of their meaning to the situation, and whether or not she is what she is, we don't know. We don't know because we don't know her. I don't know her. Abby doesn't know her. We can't like assess the situation. What we were trying to do was like stop the harm because people were just seriously dogpiling her, and she's honestly got to be a strong, mentally strong person to deal with all of this backlash. But I mean, literally, like an overwhelming amount of people. I would say what I saw was like the majority, 90% of people responded to her in this way, like she's crazy and all this stuff. And people are just the what we're trying to do is stop the harm of dogpiling, and dogpiling comes from people that are not aware of what's happening inside of them. Abby uses the word dissociative, like they're dissociated from their own internal experience, their own bodies, their own thoughts, like independent of a situation. They're enmeshed with everything. And I mean, you guys, I talk about this all the time. They're enmeshed with everything. Something happens, I react. It's this physics. What is it? Every action has a reaction. They think that everything is just automatic like that. There's no choice in anything. And even when you look, if you look at the comments that way, like, oh my gosh, even, in reality TV, when clips are posted online and people are like, oh my gosh, I hate this character. And you see 10 of the kind of the same comments. You're like, I wonder if these people really think that, or like, what's their own experience of someone like this? Or like, where is this coming from? Are they just loving to kind of dogpile and feel like they belong to something? Because that's what things do for me. If I'm watching a reality show and I don't like someone or whatever, and I go online, I'm like, oh, okay, like other people don't like them too. I feel validated in my experience. I feel like, okay, where I'm living, I'm safe. I'm like living in this shared reality with people where I'm not crazy. And so it's like doing something for me, like it's doing something for me. And that's sad because if I'm not aware of that, it could cause me to treat this person that I do not know a certain way. Like, and that's what's so crazy about online stuff. If y'all seen Breaking Bad, it's one of me and my husband's favorite shows. I've literally seen it. I'm not even gonna, should I share? I've probably seen it front to back 30 to 40 times. No lie. Like it used to be my just show I would have on, or at night at least. Anyway, Skylar White, the wife in that show, she plays the antagonist to Walt, who's the main character, and Walt it like becomes this evil person, this psychopath. And she's like, I mean, if you watch it from the point of view, like the reality of like being actually a wife to somebody like this, she is amazing. She has incredible boundaries. She speaks her mind. Like honestly, as a woman, I like really love like when I saw it from that point of view, that's what I thought was like, wow, she's got boundaries. She's standing up for herself. She's like, you're not living here kind of thing. And she obviously at the end, turns a little bit too. But so basically, my point is that she says that in real life, people can't stand her because of that character, like fans from the show. They like think she's really Skylar White in real life. And she says she's been treated terribly over the years because of that role. Look it up. Look it up. And so I mean, so Abby was describing this like dissociative state that everybody's in. And it's so true. It's so true that people do not know what they're bringing to situations because they've not done the inner work and they've not done the like separation of themselves and everybody else, and they don't realize that they grew up in an enmeshed family. Like they don't realize all this stuff. And a lot of it, I mean, it is their fault at this point. Like it's hard to say because people like crack at certain points in their life, Like people crack at 60, 70 years old. The older I get, I'm 33. I feel like I've lived a very like full 33 years, like of awareness and just stuff and life and relationships and just everything. It's felt so, I use the word concentrated, like concentrated. And I'm like, people just don't like For some reason, this has been my journey, but not a lot of people's. And they have to, people are at living on different levels of awareness to things. That realization will free you from like this responsibility you feel. But the point with parenting, the point with online social media, the point with your emotions is like you are gonna blame everything around you, even if you have a defensive spouse who clearly like has an issue. Like maybe they don't go inward, or maybe they yell, or whatever, like something that's like hard to ignore. They have a substance abuse issue, like something so explicit that it makes you feel like, okay, if this were to be different, everything would be better. That is, you're playing into this dissociative like blame. You're playing into this enmeshment, this codependency. It's all connected. It's all connected. And that's why what I like to talk about is relationships, because these things happen in relationships. Like we exist in relationships, and the key is not to like abandon relationships. I've said like we're not monks living on a hill, like where our spirituality, we reach enlightenment alone. Like I don't know what you guys believe about male and female spirituality and if it's different. I like kind of buy into that a little bit, how like, but I think a lot of it's conditioned. I think a lot of it's because men, I don't necessarily think it's all nature. I think because of men being the leaders in most areas, it that creates the conditioning of like entitlement and lack of empathy. You can kind of get by without it, whereas women and minorities, like you can't. So anyway, all to say is that like there's this theory that like men, and I've repeated this before because, but I don't have like a finally formed thought about it, but that men reach enlightenment by like empathy for other people and understanding, and women reach enlightenment by understanding themselves and putting themselves first. And again, I think a lot of that is because of our social environment and less about nature. I don't know. I don't know. But I do think that if you kind of float to one extreme, spiritual enlightenment for you is the middle, and it's kind of the opposite in a way. It's integrating the opposite to your experience, like the yin and yang symbol. You know how there's like black and white, but then there's like a white dot and a black dot. That's like what it is. That's what it looks like, is in integrating that. So, point being that with social media, with all this content, you guys, with all of this, just all this stuff, this feeding, this burnout, like take a break and check in with yourself, and focus on yourself in a way that's like you're going inward. And if you only go inward and you internalize, like you don't have to do that anymore. You can react a little bit. Maybe I'll talk about that next time. I actually built a lot of my TikTok following at first by talking about this. I would talk about acting on your emotions. Say if something makes you angry, like say it. Stop like thinking about all the right things to say and just say, "Hey, I'm like pissed off right now." Like stop. Just like get it out. However you react, and if that's blaming, that's okay. Like the point in becoming an artist in this way, like I describe feeling your feelings as becoming an artist. Like that's literally what you're doing. The first thing to do is just to put paint on the page. Just like have a voice, just say it. And it doesn't have to be in the lines right now. You're going to figure it out. So, I don't know, maybe I'll talk about that next time. But that was really fun. That was like, in when I first started posting on TikTok, I was posting a lot of that stuff. Just like act. It's okay. Just like react. You're going to be all right. And I would get a lot of pushback from very enmeshed people that thought I was talking to them. They would be like, this isn't good advice for me. This is dangerous advice. I'm like, okay, I mean, do you understand your experience in that though? Not to like, I don't want to invalidate it as in like, this is only you. Cause I feel like that's a lot of damage that boomers did to their kids, which is why they're now estranged, is people like estranged adult children over internalize everything. And I'm not saying that. The point is just to discern. That's the point. But anyway, going back to my original thing at the beginning, that's the saddest part of all of this is like the lack of authenticity. When there's no connection to yourself, you can't really be authentic and you can't really be vulnerable and genuine and real and like free, you know? If you don't do this stuff in your marriage, like even if you're so resentful, like why am I having to do this too? I'm already over functioning. Why do I have to do this too? Like stop doing a lot of other things you're doing to do this so that you don't have that resentment. But like whether you're with them or not, you're going to have to be doing this. I'll say, don't do it for them. Do it for you. Don't work on yourself and go inward for them, for the relationship. Do not do it for that only. Do it majority wise for you. You are all you've got. And the best thing for your kids is you doing you. That's the best thing for your kids. So, yeah, you guys, oh, wait, this is, okay, so I'm ending the episode right now, but this is such a funny thing reminding me of, I met with a video editor this past week and I was asking him about his editing style and if he edits out or pauses or whatever. And he was like, yeah, like I definitely do. But you know, what is a really good thing online to do is just to speak like stream of consciousness, you know, and that way you have to do like as little editing as possible on that front. And I was just laughing because I was like, I got that skill. Like I literally, I think it was my second podcast I did where I was like, oh my gosh, I think I just talked for 45 minutes. What in the hell? I had no idea I could do this. And anyway, here we are. So, um, yeah. This was fun today. I felt like I hope you guys got something out of it just to check in with yourself and always, always like you're so worth it. That's gonna like you're gonna be able to source your own energy when you do that. That's like the only way. You can't get it from other people or you're going to resent them. You can't get it from your kids. You can't get it from your partner. You should get it also from your partner. Like you should, not from your kids, but yeah, from your partner. And, but the majority, like what's going to help you survive is getting it from yourself. And you have to do it. You have to do it. And we're all doing it, you know, so you're not alone. But if you guys want to learn more on my defensiveness class, shoot me a message at Codependency Kate. Um, you can sign up at the link in my bio. And I'm really hoping for a great engagement and feedback on this and to learn a lot. So, whatever it is, I'm just grateful for the experience and to do this. I mean, how cool is this? You know, it's so cool. So cool. This like creative process is so cool. But thanks for listening every week. And oh, also, if you do know somebody that clips episodes for podcasts, I need to start promoting this, even though I love it being small. But if you know anybody or you can do that stuff, let me know at Codependency Kate. But thanks for listening to The Gray Area, and I'll see you next time.